CUA holders must use the Visitor Use Reporting System, VURn, to report commercial visits to National Park Service units in Interior Region 11, Alaska. CUA holders may meet this requirement either by entering trips in VURn via the Enter Guided Trips or Enter Unguided Trips pages, or by using VURn-compatible Excel workbooks and importing the workbooks to VURn. To download the Excel workbook specific to the CUA for your business, click Import Trips from the green menu bar. Next, select Download Template. Your computer or device prompts will direct you to save the Excel file. The downloaded Excel workbook will include drop-down menus for all Interior Region 11 park units in which your company is currently an authorized CUA holder. Please note, VURn generates a unique Excel workbook for your business based on the park units authorized on your current CUA. If your CUA has expired, the system will not generate the correct workbook. Use the Contact Us link if you need assistance. Enter trip information on the Excel sheet in the same format used in VURn on the guided and unguided trips pages. The workbook has tabs for guided and unguided trips. Select the correct tab for the trip you're entering, then select the park unit for your first trip. Continue to fill in the fields from left to right. On the Guided Trips tab, the location and guided activity columns have drop-down lists specific to the selected park unit. On the Unguided Trips tab, the unguided trip type and specific location drop-downs are unique to each park. Fill in the field to the left to populate the drop-down to the right. In our example, we've selected the park. Moving from left to right, we'll enter the client's number of guides, type in the start and end date, and then use the drop-downs for location and activity. Once we've finished, we will select Save, and we're ready to upload our file to VURn. 2 tips before we upload our file. In this example, we entered a one-day trip. However, just like the Guided Trips page in VURn, the Excel workbook has additional fields to enter a second and third location and/or activity. You may need to scroll to the right to see all of the available fields. To save time, as long as you've used selections from the available drop-down menus, you can copy and paste data within your Excel file. For instance, if we had several trips to Crescent Lake to enter, we'd confirm that we entered Lake Clark from the drop-down list. On a Windows device, we'd use Control-C to copy, Command-C on a Mac. Then using your cursor and the Shift button, you'd highlight where you want to paste the data, and then select Control-V to paste, Command-V on your Mac. If the location and an activity was the same for all of these trips, select both, select Control-C on your Windows device, Command-C on your Mac, then use your cursor and the Shift key to select the area you'd like to paste the data. Control-V to paste, Command-V on your Mac. You then continue filling in the rest of the data for those trips. If you have a CUA in more than one park unit, you may use one Excel workbook to enter data for all the park units in which you operated. While VURn will accept one Excel workbook for all your permitted park units, you can also import separate Excel workbooks for each park unit if you prefer. From the Import Trip screen, select the Browse button. Select the correct file from your computer or device. When the file is selected, the Browse for File box will be updated with the name of the file. Select Finish to finish the upload. The lower portion of the screen will display a message if the import was successful. In this example, no errors were detected and one guided trip was imported. To review the trips imported to VURn via your Excel workbook, select Review Saved Trips or navigate to existing trips from the green menu bar. On the existing trips page, you can sort by park, status, or date. Trips entered in VURn via your Excel workbook will be entered in draft mode. You'll see here the trip we entered to Crescent Lake is listed in draft mode with 4 clients on June 1st. If you need to make changes, use the pencil tool, make your change, and click Save. Once you've reviewed the trips uploaded to VURn via your Excel workbooks, you're ready to submit your trips to the NPS. Refer to the Submitting Trips segment of the video or reference the VURn user guide to walk through the process. If there are issues with your Excel file, you will see error messages below the Finish button. The Validation Error box will identify errors in the Excel file by row. Each row in the error box will include the location of the error on the Excel workbook and a message indicating what needs to be addressed in that row. Shown here on the far left of the box, you'll see the workbook row number, and the message to the right identifies the error. In this example, the error shows an issue on row 7 of our Excel workbook. The message shows that we have an invalid lookup value for the guided activity entered in that row. So let's look at row 7 on our file. We'll see in the guided activity column, I typed in the field instead of using the drop-down list. The file could not be imported because the system only recognizes values included on the drop-down list. To correct the issue, I select the correct guided activity from the list, save the file, and re-import. To re-import, select Browse, choose the correct file from your computer or device, select Open, and then push the Finish button. When the import is successful, below the file name you'll see No Errors Detected, and then the count of imported trips will be displayed. Most validation errors can be corrected by selecting from the available drop-down options on the drop-down menus in the Excel workbook. Like the drop-downs on the Edit Guided and Edit Unguided Trips pages, VURn is looking for exact words in the Excel file that match the defined system terms, such as the park-specific location names and activities. If an entry in a required field on the Excel file is not recognized, VURn cannot read the file and the import will fail. If your import fails and it's not due to an invalid lookup value like we covered in this example, then review the list of Excel workbook requirements and validation error codes in the user guide to determine how to correct the issue and successfully re-import your workbook.